Hello, and welcome to episode 150 of Checkpoint Chat. We made it. We made it.
You promised air horns. I hope that's facts.
Well, you won't know now. I can't put them in during the live recording. But if you've heard air horns, then I delivered on my promise.
We
don't have cake. We've got air horns.
I'll throw some in the video version.
Yeah,
maybe just some subtle John Cena.
My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined, as always, by Matty Figueira.
On this auspicious occasion, 150. Can you believe
Auspicious.
it? I don't even know if that's the right word. It just sounded right. Auspicious.
Yeah, I mean, that's like how I do my writing. Is this word right? Don't know.
The key, so we live in an unfortunate time in this context because back in the day, you could just throw out any word. Okay, I think, I can't remember where I heard this, but way back then, you could throw out any word, have any arguments, and you know what? People couldn't just be like, I'm going to double check that and go into Google and see if you're right or wrong.
I mean, this is why Shakespeare was good. People just
made up words. Yeah, it's like, yes, this means that. And people go, oh wow, this man's a genius. Auspicious, wow, incredible. People look it up today, it means like the complete opposite thing of what I meant it to be.
It's true. I mean, I feel really embarrassed when I do the writing thing and I use a word and then it gets highlighted by an editor. It's like, did you mean to use this word here? And then I actually look up what it means and I'm like, no, definitely not.
That is incorrect.
Something completely different to what I thought it.
I mean, we can leave it here. It just changes the meaning of the sentence, but also makes you look like an idiot. But that's fine,
I am a writer. Believe me, please do not fire me.
It's funny because it happens on our team as well. I mean, we write, like Noel and I write things, but they're obviously things we proofread. Sometimes a random word pops up or sentence is wrong. You're like, did you mean to say this? No, I thought not. Please never do this again.
Just double checking, You're trying to be like gentle. You're trying not to embarrass them. Like, because you could outright go like, this word makes no sense here. But you're just like, did you mean to do this? Just take another look, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, just, you don't outright tell them. Just say, hang on. I'm just confirming.
Just confirming, because my understanding of the word is different. Maybe you understand it, in a different context, and I'd like you to explain to me,
Yeah, that's
it's like looking at someone who says 2 + 2 is 5, and you're like, yeah, do you think so? In my view, I don't think that's right. Maths? But yeah. Are you an idiot?
Do you speak English? Just checking. Yeah, but this is
why are you a writer by trade?
My God, but this is episode 150. I mean, when did we start the podcast? In 2018, it must be. If we go, we average out.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't done.
We did have breaks.
We haven't done an episode a weekend, consistently. So, I mean, we're in July now. I think we started March 2018, but still, this is quite a milestone. Never thought I'd see us hit, not for any bad reason. I just think it's quite something to get to 150.
If you think about it, if we started in March 2018, and there's 52 weeks in a year, right? Then by March of this year, we should have reached 150. But I know we took breaks, especially when I went to E3, and during December we take breaks. So I think, we've been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and 150, it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot when you take it into consideration that it's weekly. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a slow counting number.
Next up, 200 next year.
What's wild to me is that we hit episode 100 just after we went into that initial lockdown.
Sure, that's true.
Yeah. Because we couldn't even do anything. We can't celebrate. Yeah, we can't celebrate.
And here we are, wave 3, lockdown level 4. I mean, we still can't really do anything. But we'll put some
at this rate, we're going to have more episodes in lockdown than we did together at my house, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, well, we need like another year of this. I mean, what we hit like episode 90, I think, or 95.
Yeah, it was like 90. It was very close to 100, I remember. Yeah.
Sure. What a time to be alive. But yeah, happy fake birthday. I guess. This isn't really a birthday podcast. We never have cake. We only have air horns.
I mean, you can have cake. You went for a run, so you're allowed cake. I didn't go for a run. And I haven't gone for a run most of this week. So as you can see, I'm playing with my nice chin here.
You can still have cake, though. But everyone can do that.
No.
Look, I can play with my little chin.
I hate it. I hate it. The camera adds 10 pounds.
It does. We need to angle our cameras. Should the camera look up at us or down on us? I think it should look. What is like the optimal?
I actually don't know. I think up. I think it should look up. I don't know.
See, like your camera's slightly looking down on you now, whereas mine's,
so you can see all them
looking
wrinkles.
up at me. It's up.
Yeah, but you've got a beautifully defined chiseled chin because you run like 15 Ks every day. So
I don't run with my chin though. Every day. Shut. That's wild.
You do run like pretty much every day, don't you?
No. Only I run 3 times a week. So
I thought it was like 5 times a week.
No. I do 2 short runs during the week and then a long run on the weekend. I average, like my goal is to do 25 Ks every week.
Trying to hit that 1,500 by the end of the year.
Oh no, I'd have to do more. It's about 1-2.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I'm doing. Oh yeah, look, if you're averaging 25 over 52, then yes, it's 1,250.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I've got,
because I know you need to do like 20 a week to hit 1,000. Because I attempted that once and I got a few months in and I was like, this is horrible.
It's around this time of the year when you really get tested. You go, I don't feel like running today, but then next week I have to do 40 Ks. And it's like,
I have found I've got into this rhythm where I do like a long run on the weekend and it's usually on Sunday. And I find that if I don't get that long run in, it gets my week off to a terrible start.
Oh no.
Like that getting that run in on a Sunday, I don't know what it is, but it's like a real Zen experience. It's like an hour and a bit where I just have me and my thoughts and it like resets you for the week.
It's also that hit of dopamine when you're done.
Yeah, it's a pretty fucking huge hit of dopamine after a run like that. And it's like, it's a hard run. Like, this area, lots of hills. But it's good. It feels good to accomplish something on a Sunday, and then you feel like you have the rest of the week to kick ass. And then you get to Friday, and you're just like dead. Yeah,
I'm gonna play so many games tonight.
I only watched the football last night, and Belgium is out. What a wild!
It's been a pretty wild Euro.
I mean, we're recording this on Saturday morning, so I don't know the results. But if if England go out today, then Group F, where Portugal was, all of Group F would be out, and all of the people who eliminated Group F would be out, which is just bizarre to me. Yeah. I cannot handle another era of Italy and Spain being good footballers.
So who's left in? I mean, who's the quarterfinals now? It's Ukraine and England, and then who's the other game tonight?
Denmark and Czech Republic.
So and then who played yesterday?
Belgium and Italy.
Oh,
and
so Italy beat Belgium. Okay.
Yeah, Spain and
Switzerland.
And that went to penalties. Man, got to feel. I mean, yeah, I don't know. So it's Italy and Spain in the one semi-final, and then I guess we'll find out the other one this week. Today, actually.
Yeah. Well, by the time you listen to this, you'll have your top 4.
At least Italy or Spain's going to be in the final, and that already just makes me mad.
Shit sakes.
Yeah, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'll see.
Yeah. It's been a fun tournament because it's been completely unpredictable. I mean... The favorites were all like Belgium, Germany, and France, and they all didn't even reach the semi-finals. So, yeah, and there's been some wild results with smaller teams, so I love that sort of shit.
Yeah, it's always
unpredictable football, super fun to watch.
It's entertaining.
No, I mean it's sad. Poor land.
Rip Portugal.
There,
I mean that Portugal. Who did they play the last game?
Belgium.
But was it Belgium? Yeah, shit. That was a
that's a good game.
That second half was like an all-out offense with just no goals, which is so sad.
I'm kind of glad that, in a way, that we went out then, because Italy would have torn us apart the way they played against Belgium yesterday. Yeah. And that would have been more embarrassing. So
just can't look any Italian friends in the eye.
I can't, man. I can't. I mean, one of my best friends is Italian, and I just can't. I can't deal with Italians winning again. When they won the World Cup, when was it? 2006, I think. God, it's just so much.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
I mean, even the last Euro when Portugal won, I messaged him. I'm like, see, we finally won. He's like, yeah, finally. Italy's won this a few times. I'm like, fuck's sake.
Why you gotta be like this? Come on.
Exactly. I'm your friend, but I hate you.
Good Lord. Yeah,
sorry to all Italians listening here. We love your pizza.
We love the pizza. The footballers. Don't know.
The team has got some really wild names this time. There's some players there with names I can't even pronounce, and I thought I had a grasp on like Italian. So
like spaghetti and
there's one. I think his name is Spinazzola or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, Spinazzola, and what's the other guy's name? It's got a weird like pronunciation. It's Igiene or Igiene. I don't know. Very interesting. I can't wait for the great footballer Ravioli.
I was going to go with pizza, but Ravioli definitely sounds like a footballer's name.
Yeah. Riccardo Ravioli.
Oh my God. That is the best Italian name. Riccardo Ravioli, the best. Mm-hmm. We need somebody to replace Ronaldo as the best footballer. So if there's a Riccardo Ravioli out there, now's your time.
Riccardo Ravioli. Step in the Portuguese camp, we'll get Paulo Francesinha.
Paulo Bifana.
Yeah, Paulo Bifana. There we go. Exactly. I mean, we have De Oliveira, which is olive tree. So, we're not far off the foodisms.
My sister-in-law's maiden name is De Oliveira.
Oh, is it?
There we go. Yeah, we've got some olive trees.
Olive tree. I mean, isn't Figueira figs?
Fig tree, yeah. We've got figs and olives. We're making all the trees here.
Barbosa. I'm just a pirate.
What? Do you know what Barbosa means? Does it have a meaning?
I do not know. I've been told that back in the day, it was a name for some of the monarchs. Who knows?
You just looked out into the
I'm Portuguese royalty right now.
Kiss my feet. Riccardo Ravioli. I can't wait.
Yeah, kiss my feet, Ravioli. This Checkpoint Chat talk about video games and
sometimes.
Ravioli. Speaking about characters with names, well, food for names, it's a great segue into a game both of us have been playing, one that I've finished. Chicory, A Colourful Tale.
So just to be clear, I've only played about an hour and a half yesterday, but you have in fact rolled credits in this game.
I played a lot of it last weekend and then carried on throughout this week. So it's a game developed by a rather small group of people. They developed a game, or some of them helped develop a game a while back called Wonder Song, which apparently is kind of like the same sort of idea as Chicory, but using song instead of like paint and color, to tell a story.
Yeah.
But essentially, Chicory is a game. It's a 2D adventure puzzle game. If you had to like break it down into its base elements, and the main sort of mechanic is you have this paintbrush that can color in the world. So all of the screens you visit are in black and white, thanks to a like apocalyptic event that happens really early in the game. All the color from the world is like stripped away and everything's black and white. And you are at liberty to kind of like fill things in. Every area, every named area you go to gives you a limited palette of colors. I think it's like usually four colors.
4, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And you can scroll through them and blot in the world as you go. Like prominent items on the screen, when you click them, they immediately get colored into that. Yeah. But you can do all sorts of things, like you can do, brush strokes. You can change the size of your brush. You can click and hold, and it starts filling from that point, which is really satisfying. You see like the paint like grow out from where
also the
your
sound
brush
it
is.
makes, it's like bloop, bloop, bloop.
It's very good. It's very, very good. It's very nice, wet, squishy sounds. I like it a lot. You eventually start unlocking things like patterns that you can put down, and textures, which allow you to get like really creative with how you paint in worlds, and it's what leads to the more intricate looking screens that I've seen floating around from this game. But it's also not the main mechanic. This isn't a interactive coloring book like I maybe thought it was before I started playing, but it's actually quite a very satisfying puzzle game. So it reminds me a lot of like a Legend of Zelda or any Metroidvania you can think of, because you have a certain set of abilities at the start and you unlock abilities as you progress. One of the first new abilities you get is allowing your paint to glow in the dark so you can enter caverns.
Yeah.
Later on, you get an ability where you can swim in your paint, all Splatoon style, which is really fun because that really opens up the world. So you navigate the world of, what's the world called? Picnic, I think it is.
Is it? I actually have no idea what the world's called. I just know some of the area names, but they're all named after like. Oh, is it not Luncheon?
Luncheon's the first town.
Is that the first town? Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's Picnic. So essentially, you have this like map. It's a rather massive map to explore, but you're gated by, obstacles that you can only pass when you've got the correct ability to get past them. So very Zelda Metroidvania style in that regard. But I found that each new ability was really cool, and all of the puzzles associated with the new ability were really fun. They tested me in like interesting ways. Like I never found the game I never found it really that difficult. Like I didn't think any of the puzzles were ridiculously difficult, but at the same time, I didn't think they were too easy, because when you find puzzles that are too easy, it's like, oh god, I just have to go through the motions and like I know the solution. They hit that like really delicate fine line of accessible and satisfying to solve.
Yeah.
In a way that very few puzzle games do. I think like Portal is a good example of a game that gets that right. Where you can walk into a room and be like, I know what to do. I kind of need to figure out how to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's
the
like
execution.
it's kind of impossible to do. You walk into a room, there's just too much. You go, I don't know how to do this. I know I need to get to that point, but it seems impossible. Then you do it, you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Like
that was easy. Yeah.
And I found with Chicory, like I hear you, I'm still early in the game, but even the puzzles I've done, it's very much a thing of like, I need to get from A to B. How do I get there? And it's just figuring it out, and it is satisfying when you get it. It's not like obvious.
I think what helps is that the puzzles are per screen, so you never have to move an object from one screen to the next. So it's like when you look at a puzzle, everything you need to solve that puzzle is on that screen.
Yeah.
Like you never have to worry, like, did I forget an item back there that I need to like transition into the screen or whatever. So that's really cool. I think that keeps it like fairly approachable and whatever. So it's a pretty long game. It's like, it took me about 12 hours to finish, and there's still a lot I could have done in the game, like lots of side stories and that. But it's really the story that grabbed me in this game. It's firstly, it's just got a lot of like really interesting lore. Like this is a world where colors kind of like fades over time. So you have these singular wielders who are like artists who are chosen to carry this magic paintbrush that you get at the beginning of the game and basically recolor in the world to keep it looking good. But through that, they are able to kind of reinterpret the world in their vision, like what they see the world as. that idea is pretty cool, but it comes with the caveats of expectation. Like, as color fades, a new artist like goes to touch it up, but maybe they don't touch it up to a way that the inhabitants of a house, for instance, particularly likes. So they're constantly weighed down by this expectation of you need to uphold the legacy of the artists before you, while also trying to find a way to put your own spin on like what you put out into the world. And like it's a metaphor for sure. Like if you've ever put something out for anyone else to consume, be that writing, be that videos, music, art, it doesn't matter. It's like anything that is part of you that someone else interacts with, and you are worried about their expectations or their reactions to that. Like Chicory really drills down into what that feels like and what it means to create something, and the problems that can be associated with that. Like the game is not shy about dealing with themes of depression, themes of burnout, imposter syndrome. Like I think that was the thing that hit home largest for me, is throughout the game you're doing all these incredible things and you're helping all these people, but your hero is constantly questioning whether they are even like worthy of being in the role that they find themselves in. And I think that's, not everyone maybe can relate to depressive episodes, and not everyone can relate to burnout, but I think everyone can relate to the feeling of not feeling like you belong somewhere, like doing a job and feeling like you're waiting for someone to catch you out and be like, hey, wait, you actually can't do this work. Why are you even working here? You know what I mean? And I just thought the game, it approached those themes very thoughtfully. I didn't feel like it was condescending at any point. And it just, it deals with them in a very thoughtful and cathartic way. Like, this is not a game that is here to give you the answer to solving those problems. It's just a game that kind of acknowledges that more people than you think are like going through the same sort of thing. So it's okay. You know what I mean? One of my favorite quotes, I think it's near the beginning of the game, you meet one of the previous wielders. He looks like a big lion. And one of his lines is, "Don't worry about it. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing." And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty true.
Pretty much.
His name is Carmadon. That I remember.
Oh, nice.
It's really good. Yeah, I remember some of the characters with all their food names. I think they're really good. I mean, you're only an hour in, so you're getting like shades of that.
I've got a long way to go still. But even just within my first hour and a half, all I can say is that the game is real charming. Like, I've been captivated from the beginning, because the characters are so, I don't know, so likable. Like your main character, fun fact, I think both of us going into the game thought you were Chicory. That is not true. Yeah. Chicory is actually the previous wielder. So I'm assuming, it's a buddy named Chicory. The game starts off asking you what your favorite food is, and that ends up being the name of your character, because
I did not know that.
Yeah, you don't know you're going into this world where everything's basically named or inspired by food. Like, all the food areas are, like the starting area you said is Luncheon. And then you meet a whole lot of people with just food names, and it's just so, I don't know, it's just very, very cute and captivating. And then, like, I don't really have abilities, but just the fact that every screen I walk into, it's just a blank canvas, and it's black and white. I've only got 4 colors, and you don't have to, but I'm running through the screen and just like coloring in, tapping over there, doing that, changing color, and it's just really, really wholesome. Like, that's the only word I can think that fits,
it feels calming, the painting. I found it very
soothing,
easy,
and even when you're doing the puzzles and stuff, it's just fun to just make your way through this world. It's just, I don't know, I think the word I'm looking for just feels fresh, I guess. It's something different to me. I've never quite played an adventure game like this, where you've got the absolute freedom to just paint and chill and like make your way through the town and talk to people, all the while solving these very clever puzzles, you know.
And it's really cool. All the color persists, so you can come back to an area hours after, and it's there.
I've done that already, where it's like I've been to this screen like 3 times. Let me just give it some color, because I'm visiting it regularly. And you know what? What's nice about it as well is that you don't have to. If you really just want to play the game, like I'm here for the puzzle and the adventure, or just for the story, you can just walk your way through the world. Obviously, using your paintbrush to solve the necessary puzzles, but you don't have to color in a damn thing if that's not your
One of my
vibe.
favorite things is seeing screenshots of other players, on Twitter, and just how they interpreted the color, especially of characters. Like my Carmadin, I made him like red and made his like mane like orange, because I just thought it looked really nice. And I've seen people do like completely different things with characters, and it gives them a whole different vibe, but it also just shows how they interpreted their characters in a way, like their persona.
What do they look like?
Exactly. And I mean, this isn't really a spoiler, but later in the game, you get the ability. Well, it depends. If you find a certain person, you get the ability to create your own palette of colors.
Oh, wow.
So you're not confined to the ones given to you by an area.
Okay.
But I quite like the palette given to you, because I feel like it gives each area a distinct look. Like when I went into Potluck, like just because of the way I had colored in certain buildings, I knew immediately where I was. So yeah, I really like that that feature. Have you played around with the GIF tool yet?
No, actually, I'm not quite sure how it works.
So every time you walk onto a screen, and you paint whatever, when you say create GIF, it will create a GIF from the moment you enter that screen but
when you stop,
it knows how many frames to skip to not make it like an endlessly long GIF. And I think the results are really, really cool.
That's cool.
I think it's
a clever little feature as well. Yeah.
I don't know if that's on the PS4 version. I imagine not, but it's definitely
I don't know. So
on PC.
we both playing this on PC, and with keyboard and mouse, it's so straightforward because you're using your mouse to paint. So I'm not sure what the console experience is like. Like I imagine you just use the right analog to move around.
That's how you use the right analog to move your paint reticle around, which I think, I mean, this game does have boss battles and you can't die, but they definitely feel a lot harder than the rest of the game. And especially in some of the later ones, I was like, wow, how do you do this with a controller? Because it doesn't require precision, but you need to be really quick sometimes with some of your brush strokes. So yeah, I played it on PC. I liked it on PC, like you said. This game is also nowhere near graphically intensive. So I think on the Steam page, I think under the requirements, they actually say you could run it on a toaster, but then don't try to run it on a toaster, which I think is very cute.
Amazing.
It's open basic, wide to anyone. If you've got a laptop, you could play this probably.
Yeah. It's funny though, the only thing that not a concern, but I played like late yesterday afternoon after work, well, early evening, and going through, have you been through that option menu? Even that in itself is so quirky, like the way the descriptions are. Do
you want VSync? Yeah or nah?
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I really like that. But there's one setting there where it's basically like, how do you want your screen? And it's like defaults. I can't think of the wording, but basically, do you want to tone down how bright the screen is? So I
didn't see that. Okay.
Oh my word! I had it on defaults, and then I played a bit. Then I put the game away. Came back in the evening, and my room was quite dark. I played this game. I was like, oh my god, my eyes are like on fire because it's so
just
bright.
White. Yeah, it's just white.
But then I went to the settings and I put that on. And I was like, that's a less strain on my eyes.
Yeah, they've got really good set. I mean, you can even turn down or completely turn off the liquid noises, because maybe some people really
just
get fucked out, but like they get really bugged by that, and that's cool. I know my former editor at GameSpot, Callie, she really could not play games with any vomiting in it because she had like a visceral bad reaction to them.
Sure.
So when Resident Evil 3 came out, she was like, their vomiting sections, are they still there? And I'm like, yep. She's like, well, guess I can't play this game. So
Sure.
like having the option to
put it
turn off
off,
something
yeah.
that's not really like game critical, that's
Yeah.
cool. You know, lets people play the game the way they want. I think you can also turn off boss battles.
This game, in terms of accessibility, I feel that you probably could. Like, I don't know off the top of my head, but I imagine that is included.
Which is cool.
It's clever.
I mean,
yeah,
if you're like, I just want the story, like I don't want the boss battles, that's fine.
Yeah,
I do think the boss battles have some of the best music in the game. The music obviously provided by Lena Raine of Celeste fame.
Yeah, let me tell you, the music I've heard thus far as well, it's just
so good.
It's yeah. All I can say is that I'm looking forward to not only playing the game but hearing what other music is thrown into my ears.
It's a very different vibe to Celeste. But I love it. In the same way that the colors give you a real sense of place, the music does as well. Like I can transition to a screen and be like, just from the musical cues, I'm like, cool, I know where I am.
Back in this area or whatever.
I can't wait for you to explore more of this map because I was not prepared for how large it is. It's intense and it's
Does it make you think of Hollow Knight where you just keep just think, holy shit.
It's very much like a Hollow Knight. And even when I'd finished, there were parts of the map like that were still whited out. So I didn't find some secret areas.
Oh wow.
And I'd love to know how I missed them because
could you try again?
Siri, like, this is how you missed them.
I'd love to know how I missed them because I think you have to be, you know, there's parts of the screen where you can only transition in small slivers of areas. So they're really, you know, they don't hide the critical path too deeply, but if you really want to find everything in this game, it's hidden.
You have to pay close attention. Yeah. I mean, even the getting used to the aesthetic for me, there were one or two instances where I was like, I'm not sure where to go. So it's like me moving back and forth between screens, and eventually I'm like, oh, like I need to get to that level and then move through that path or whatever. But you get used to it. I mean,
I did run into a pretty demoralizing bug. I have no idea how. I was on chapter 5. So each of the game has like acts. And I somehow got, I don't know how, but I jumped to a place where apparently I was not meant to go. And it completely sequence broke the game. I got into an area I should not have been able to get into at that point. So then I ran into a boss and I was like quite confused. Like I was like, wow, there was no lead up to this boss.
Yeah.
And then when it finished, it's like chapter 8. And I was like, whoa, what? Hold on. Yeah. So then I had to go onto the Steam forums and like I was like, this happened. And luckily it seems that the developers are like trying to address it, but there's a beta branch for the game which has a chapter select screen that they're still working on. And that allowed me to go back to my chapter, not really lose any progress.
Okay, cool.
Wow, for a good half an hour, I was like, well, I need to restart this game and
my God,
I'm really far in.
Yeah. Let me tell you, speedrunners want your number. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, I felt like a real speedrunner because it wasn't even a thing like when it happened, I didn't realize I'd broken out of somewhere I wasn't meant to be. It looked like a completely normal thing for me to do. So yeah, just be aware of that. I mean, they are a small studio and I think there's been 2 patches already, but if you do find yourself in a sequence like a soft lock, then yeah. Because after the boss, it transported me to an area that I couldn't leave because I didn't have a certain power.
Ability. Wow.
Yeah. So I was just stuck. I couldn't do anything.
Amazing.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
but Chicory, great time.
Real good time.
It's my game of the year by a margin right now.
That's quite something because you know, we've had some good games.
Had some bangers of games this year.
Let me tell you. Wait, before we do that, sorry. Just last thing on Chicory, I can't put my finger on it, and I know they're 2 completely different games, but if you enjoyed Chicory, I would highly recommend you go to Undertale because I get such like similar vibes from both games. They're completely different. Like Undertale's, you know, more of an RPG, but just in terms of the world and exploration and the characters, like I get the same sort of vibe from Chicory.
It's funny you say that because Umar a friend of ours on Twitter said the exact same thing.
It's so like if you put them side by side, you're gonna know these are completely different games. Like apart from maybe the view of the game, you know, the top down. But Undertale as well, don't sleep on that game. Also real good. Like
I really need to get to it.
Took me by surprise. And I suppose almost like Chicory taking both of us by surprise, where you just expect like, oh, it's like a puzzle solving platform or something. And it's more than that. So yeah, keep that on your list.
Have you played Deltarune, the sort of
no,
like
I haven't played the sequel. No, because I still want to replay Undertale purely because I believe there are many different endings and ways to play the game. So I did like and I mean my one playthrough was like 5-6 hours, so it's not like exceptionally long, but real good time. Also, great music, great story and characters, and the combat is just unlike anything I've ever experienced before in a game.
I really want to give it a go. Yeah. I really do. Speaking of good games this year, a game that both of us have now finished. Maybe not on our, well, it's not on my game of the year list. I won't speak for you.
I can say it's
Ratchet
not on
Oh, it's not on yours. Okay.
It's not on mine either.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. You also got the platinum.
So I think we've done a full review already because you finished the game a while ago. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But yeah, I have now also rolled credits on the game. I've got the platinum, and let me tell you, it is so don't get me wrong, it's not my game of the year, not because it's not a good game. It is a pretty stellar game. Like I really, really enjoyed my time with it. But it's just more Ratchet and Clank, which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, it's a real fun ride from beginning to end. And if you're looking for your next game in the PS5, like this to me is a no-brainer. I mean, I'm not going to spend hours on it because we've already gone into detail, but just the characters, of introducing Rivet into this world, I sincerely hope she makes appearances in future titles, which I'm pretty sure she will. But gameplay aside, just this is a great game that sort of makes makes great use of the DualSense as well. Like, the more games I play like this, like Rift Apart and Returnal and Astro's Playroom, the more I think I kind of like how this controller works, and I want more games to use it properly. Like, apart from the vibration, just the mechanic of having the half trigger, it's so natural to me now. Like, coming from Returnal, I'm like, oh, okay, I half press to do this, I full press to do that. Like, it just...
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about it anymore.
It's going to be... Not like, you can obviously live without it, but I just feel that it's such a nice inclusion that I'd like to see it in more games.
And I don't know about you, but I'm finding I'm no longer accidentally full pressing when I mean to half press anymore. Like, my fingers have understood now what to do.
Yeah, I've got the muscle memory. But yeah, the reason I don't consider it a game of the year for me is just that there are some aspects of it that feel very outdated, like just weird things that feel out of place on a PS5 game. So, like, for example, we've spoken about it, off air, about there's a one world, I think it's Sargasso.
The second world, yeah.
Yeah, where you, at one point, you go back, there's a side quest to, fly a beast to go collect a thing called Zerp stones. And then you fly this thing and the controllers feel very sluggish. And there are just things about the game that just, I don't know, it feels like a PS2 or PS3 game. It feels
old.
Yeah. And I'm just like, it just feels out of place where everything else in this game is so polished and so good and, just really up there. It just held down by things like this where I'm like, why? Like, how did you not think, how did you think this was okay?
Yeah.
But
I found the same, like, you return to planets that you've completely wiped and it's like, there's no music. Because it almost feels like the music was tied to the set pieces and that's it.
Yeah, and that's it. But I mean,
it just feels old in that regard, yeah.
But then, like, my biggest concern with 2016's remake was, like, it's a fun game, but it lacks movement. It really lacked the movements. And then Rift Apart, they not only give you a dash, but late in the game you get a pair of, like, almost like rocket skates, if I could call them that.
Oh yeah, those feel cool.
Which are really, really cool. Like you move fast, but then you, being someone like me or you'll definitely want to use him to try explore. Like, oh, if I get enough speed, I can jump to that ledge over there. And you do, but then you hit like an invisible wall and you fall through the wall. Then it's like, why?
or you get on top there and you're like, the game probably thinks I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Like, even on that previous planet, Sargasso, there's like you can take those little snails.
Beetles, I think.
Yeah. And there's like little bits of land all around you, and you get onto them and there's nothing there. And it's like, why allow me to get here then? You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, it's just things like that where I'm like, I don't know. I feel that if there was a bit more done in that regard, maybe I'd consider it a game of the year. But there were moments I was face palming, like, why? Why you do this? But yeah, don't get me wrong though. Those are some minor setbacks on an otherwise,
some of the set
game.
Pieces are just incredible.
Yeah, I really loved that story. I mean, what the hell's I've gone blank. Nefarious, the bad guy. I love
Nefarious, yeah.
The two versions of him.
Yes,
was it the same? Was it the same voice actor?
I think so, yeah.
Because they did a really good job. They sounded completely different, all the while being the same person. If that makes sense. Yeah, it is just fun.
No, the whole like story and the idea of the alternate universes was really cool. I think the rift mechanic is not used nearly enough.
No, that's also.
There's a huge marketing thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I remember reading or hearing somewhere that, like, when you bounce through all those rifts, it's loading, like, those worlds real time. But I'm like, if you play the game, you would not care or know that. If you're just a random person.
Because it almost looks like a cinematic.
It's like, from a technical point of view, like, wow, that's impressive. But 95% of people aren't going to know that or care.
It's like kind of cool in the one or two boss fights where it keeps teleporting you to new worlds, and that is like a novel thing. But it's not a game mechanic. It's like you can't do anything with that. So,
but even the boss fights, like, just last thing I'll say about the game, my last criticism, there are often many boss fights, but you cycle between like the same 3 or 4 mini bosses. It feels like they could have done more in that regard as well. Like, you're in this new area, here's a new boss to fight. And it's like, I fought this thing like 3 times already. So, but yeah, that's just some minor things that I found problematic.
It's a great game. I think it's like,
sure.
If you've got a PS5, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. It really is, yeah. I mean, I don't mean to sound like I'm coming hard on it. It's just things that,
it's the small things that bug you because you enjoy everything else so much. Yeah, it's great. It's also just beautiful. Like, what a gorgeous game. Yeah, really. Did you play on the like performance RT mode or? Yeah, I think that's the best.
Yeah, it's the best balance.
It needs that fluidity. I think the extra frame rate really makes the combat sing, especially with that dodge. It's just it feels good.
It does feel good. Yeah,
I kind of like that as you bouncing between playing as Ratchet and Rivet, you're also bouncing between completely different enemy types, which I thought was cool because they actually kind of fight completely differently as well. So that kept things interesting.
100%. No, the game's great. Don't get me wrong.
What was your favorite weapon? Or your favorite like trio of weapons? Because you played on hard as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and it really incentivizes like swapping between weapons regularly.
I think I really like the buzzsaw. There's just something about it. I mean, that was in the 2016 game as well, if I'm not mistaken. It's just satisfying to hold.
It's been a series staple.
Yeah, hold the trigger. Oh, well, how cool is this? When you finish the game, you can buy new weapons. I mean, it's tied to a trophy. And you get to buy the bouncer, which was my favorite weapon from the 2016 game.
It's a very, and one of my favorites, the pixelator, which I just think looks cool.
I love the effects of it, but I don't use it because I'm like, I don't know.
It's completely useless.
It's
so useless.
It's cool to see what effect it does. And then it's like,
I love turning everyone into a Doom sprite. It looks real fun.
Yeah. What is your favorite weapon?
I really like the combination of like using one of the grenades, whether it was the freezing one or the one that turns or covers people in like leaves.
I bought that one thinking I'm never going to use this, and it turned out to be
man.
very, very,
it's
very
so
useful.
Like all the grenade types are like incredibly useful, especially in some of those combat arena challenges, which are kind of challenging, I thought. So yeah, the combination of that with I liked the shotgun a lot, the one that you get fairly early on.
Yeah.
There's another one. Oh, the minigun that you get. The dark
yes,
matter
I
minigun.
love that minigun.
Just feels so
really
good.
Yeah. Even that on the controller felt so good.
Yeah,
just that vibration.
Like you feel that vibration every shot going off. It's real fun. But I think playing on hard, I was bouncing between so many weapons so often. A weapon I thought I wasn't going to use was actually that sniper, and that thing is so powerful.
Super strong.
Yeah, it's so powerful. It's really fun to use.
Yeah,
Ratchet and Clank, good game. Yeah, real nice game. Really enjoyed it.
And before we bounce to news, I've also been playing a lot more of Mario Golf.
Dota 2.
Dota. I mean, I played some Dota 2 this week. Don't get me wrong.
I was playing Chicory on Steam, and it's like, here he is playing Dota 2.
Like, why? I thought he left his life behind. So yeah, we spoke about Mario Golf last week when we had both played like maybe an hour or two. I've since put a lot more time into the game, going so far as to finish the story mode as well, which isn't that long. I'd say, I mean, this is a thumb suck. I don't know how much time I put into it, but maybe 6 hours, maybe 8. Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to gauge because I just like inhaled it. So I just played it. And yeah, so, I mean, I'll just talk on the story first because we touched on the mechanics last week. But the story is essentially you as a me character, someone you design. You are a amateur golfer trying to, make it big, get into the sort of big leagues with Mario and Bowser and all these, pro golfers. And the story is essentially you moving from course to course, just trying to level up your badge, which I suppose is how almost like a tiering system of like, when you get to gold or platinum, like you're a pro. So the whole adventure is you just on this pathway to, leveling up this badge by, completing qualifiers or tournaments on courses, proceeding through the game. And all the while, after every game you play, you level up. So it's got some light RPG mechanics, and you use the points you acquire to improve things like how far you can hit, what your stamina is like, which plays into speed golf, which I'll touch on shortly. How much you can spin the ball, things like that. And it's quite cool. It's quite satisfying after every tournament you get 3 or 4 levels and you put those points into something, or, you spread them out however you want to. But then throughout the campaign, the game makes use of the various game modes that, the package comes with, including, like I just mentioned, speed golf. So speed golf is essentially, I suppose, this specific game's calling card or special spin on the franchise, where you hit the ball and you have to run to the ball to play your next shot. You don't just traditional golf or just traditional Mario Golf. You hit the ball.
Definitely doesn't work like that.
Definitely doesn't work like this. Yeah, normal golf, you get into your cart, you drive there. But speed golf is you hitting your ball and racing the other characters to essentially finish the hole before everyone else does. It's they split out the modes in, like, you can either do it purely by time, how long does it take you to finish a hole, or a combination of what was your time and how many shots you took.
Okay, I was going to ask that.
Lots of different variations on that.
Okay.
So, like, on paper, it sounds cool. Like, it really, I mean, and the game starts out fine. Like, it's not groundbreaking by any means. I didn't find it particularly like, wow, I can't believe this is such a grand adventure, a cool campaign. But it's just weird because the more you play, you start to feel how disjointed the story mode feels. Like, for example, you'll get to a course where you do training and they're like, oh, cool, we're going to give you this club where it'll allow you to hit the ball really low so you can skim it across water. You go, oh, like
Okay.
that's cool. So when I get to a course where there's a lot of water, I'll skim the ball over. And you learn this, and then you use it maybe once, and you never use it again because the next course is like, there's no water, for example. It's like,
okay.
So like it's weird in that you can go to Clubhouse and buy different clubs that do different things, but you never really make use of them. Like it's very RPG light. It feels like they could have leaned more into if you buy this club, you could do this, or, make sure that when they do introduce something, you kind of have to use it all. It's more integral to the overall experience. And then like I'd say 80% through the campaign, things just go, like the story takes a twist out of nowhere. And the story, it becomes like very fantastical, if I could describe it like that.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And I'm like, this is so left field. Like, why did they not just start the game like this, or just not include this at all? So
Bowser gets replaced by actual Doug Bowser.
Wow, imagine that would have been a twist and a half. So look, I think if you're going to this game for the story, I'd say keep your expectations in check. It's by no means a great campaign mode, like not in my opinion. Like I had fun still, but it's not something I'm going to think like, wow, this is my game of the year. Where this package shines for me is just the normal golf, where it's you against friends or you playing by yourself, just hitting the ball, as a traditional golf simulator. In that regard, I think the game does very well. Like it's very easy to pick up and play, but there's just enough depth there if you want to lean into it to try get fancy with spin shots and curving and whatnot. It's like, for example, last week after we podcasted, that evening, Lenska and I played a game, and I taught her how to play like in 5 minutes, and then we played. And despite me having played a few hours already, we still drew, which to me is like, it shows how accessible the game is. I wasn't being kind. I wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to give her the advantage. It's just that accessible that she could play very well from the get-go. So yeah, it is fun. Like as an overall package, I do enjoy it, but don't pick it up thinking the story is going to blow me away because it really isn't.
I hope they start adding more courses through the rest of the game's life.
There's 5 or 6 courses. Listen, you and I still need to play on the last course. I played with Dragon, good friend of the show. We played the last course, and there's some wild obstacles, and putting on those greens is just like impossible because the slopes are unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
You land, you're like, how can anyone humanly hit this ball in?
That just sounds like they took ideas from putt-putt courses. You're going to play a putt-putt course with your family, you're on holiday, you're having a great time, then you get to that fucking hole where it's just like 2 ramps after each other. And as soon as you fuck up, then it's like all the way back to and then you realize actually no one likes putt-putt because of that.
I mean, I like putt-putt. But
I love putt-putt, but that hole, those holes, the course always has one of those. Always.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit.
Why? But even on that as an example, just to go back to the story, at one part of the story, it's like, oh no, there's a boulder in the way. But if you use a power shot, maybe you can break through it. You're like, shit, that's awesome. You power shot, it breaks the boulder. So in my head, I'm like, okay.
Did you try this in an actual golf game?
Yeah, it's like, well, they imply that your power shot can go through obstacles. I'm like, well, there's a tree in the way. Let me power shot through it. Nope. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. It feels like there's some good ideas there that just weren't carried through consistently. I don't know. Like even the fact that the story changes like 80% of the way through makes me think that they had something in mind, and then someone is like, no, we need to do this, and it was more like a last second, like, oh shit, okay, let's put this in. Like I don't know. That's just how it comes across. I don't know if that's necessarily what happened, but it feels that way. So like it's a miss there, but again, in terms of just arcade golf, like 100% really good fun. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I dig it as a multiplayer thing, and it's very low maintenance. You know what I mean? I can play it while watching TV with friends, and it's fun. Like if you just want to want to kill some time, I think it's great for that. So
yeah. So, yeah, that's Mario Golf. Super Rush.
Sick. So should we move on to game releases?
Games out this week. Let me just time it. Can I tell you, we're hitting everything like by the minutes, weirdly enough.
We're just that good, man.
It's like we started speaking about Chicory at 13 minutes, Rift Apart at 36 minutes, Mario Golf at 46 minutes, Games Out at 55 minutes. Not even a second to spare.
When you've done this for 150 times.
Sure, you just know, right?
You just know. This is how
things
it
work.
works.
Yo, look at your camera flip there.
Oh, yes. Some would say it's good production.
Wow. July.
Others say she's born with it.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
He's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's
Maybelline.
So we are looking at games from today, July 3rd, up until July 9th. So
wow,
not that many.
Oh, there's one.
There's like 4.
No, I'm saying there's one that I'm actually interested in.
Oh, yeah. It seems like a lot of July's games are like near the end of the month. So yeah. But we've got Sniper Elite VR coming to Oculus Rift, Quest, PSVR, and Steam VR on July 8th. Pew Pew in VR. Boomerang X, kind of excited for this game. This is it's weird calling it a first-person shooter. It's a first-person action game where your weapon is a boomerang or different types of boomerangs. It looks really cool.
It's a down under simulator. Oi.
Yeah. Good lord. Between levels, you play the didgeridoo or something like that. Such a cool instrument. I love it. So that's out on PC and Switch July 8th. Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wing of Ruin, PC and Switch July 9th. Is this the one you're excited about?
Well, it's the one I'm most interested in purely because this year I discovered that I really like Monster Hunter. I mean, I put about 130 hours into Monster Hunter Rise and I'm not done with the game. I mean, I've reached the end of the content that, is available, but I'm not done playing the game because there's still so many weapons to learn and armors to build and whatever. But the fact that Monster Hunter Stories 2 is just in that universe and I think it's
more
a
story game.
Yeah, turn-based story RPG. I'm like, cool.
It kind of reminds me of what's that Final Fantasy? Final Fantasy World? I think it was the like chibi one.
That's actually a very good comparison.
Yeah, it reminds me of that, but with Monster Hunter. But I mean, I don't know if that's accurate, like in terms of gameplay, but that's what comes to mind whenever I see it. That game, still need to play it. I played the demo of that game.
Final Fantasy World. Was it World? I really enjoyed that game. It was it just had it was just like a love letter to that whole just Final Fantasy. Some good nods to all the different characters some characters from the different games. So yeah. Good time.
I like the whole combat mechanic of stacking your monsters. I thought that was quite clever.
It's clever and different.
And then the last game for this week, Black Skylands, coming to Steam Early Access. There's some bangers this month, let me tell you. The Legend of Zelda, Skyward Sword. Formula 1 2021. Yeah. Chris Tales. Oh my god. Have you seen Chris Tales?
I've seen a trailer for it. What is it?
It's gorgeous. It's like a...
Yeah, the style's awesome.
It's just so gorgeous.
Death's Door, though. The game
Death's Door. Fuck yes. I'm so excited for Death's Door. Give me more of that Metroidvania roguelike stuff.
Yeah. What? The Witcher Monster Slayer on iOS?
That's like Pokemon Go, but The Witcher. Yeah.
Wow. What else is out this month?
Got the sequel to The World Ends With You, which is crazy.
Oh, that's a game I'm keen to play, but I will play it one day. I'm not gonna.
The World Ends With You is really good. Really good.
Have you played it as well? It's that was a game. Can I tell you a quick story about that game? That is a game I saw on Metacritic on DS. It's like one of I think I could be wrong, but I think it was the highest rated game. If not, it still is the highest rated game, or one of the highest rated games in the DS. And I'd seen this and I thought, I just can't find this anywhere in South Africa. It just doesn't exist. I've never seen it at a BT Games anywhere, until one day we were at the airport to collect family or do something, and a store there had games, and it had The World Ends With You, and I knew nothing about the game, but I bought it because I was like, oh my God, this game exists. I'm going to buy it. And let me tell you, that game blew me away. It was unbelievably
so
good. Yeah.
It's so good. So like there's a demo for the sequel out now that you can try and switch. And apparently it's really good. So yeah. There is a game coming out in July that I don't think is coming out, and that's this one near the bottom, Little Devil Inside. Now, let me tell you a story. Okay. Little Devil Inside is still to this day the only game I've kickstarted. And the Kickstarter, I think, launched in like 2015?
Sure.
2016? Round about there. This game has been in dev for fucking ages. And the Kickstarter updates started drying up. You know, I kind of forgot about this game. I kind of like resigned myself to, okay, this game didn't work out. You know, Kickstarter is Kickstarter. Sometimes the games don't end up being made, and that's just the risk you run. And then it popped up at the PlayStation Showcase last year when they announced the PS5. And I was like, what the fuck? This game, like, it's still around. Yeah. And everyone's like losing their minds. They're like, wow, this game looks so good and whatever. And I'm like, I've seen this game for like the past 5 years and now it just reappeared. And back then it said it was coming in July, and we've heard nothing since. So,
I mean, it's there.
I would be shocked. But
if you kickstarted it, doesn't that mean you get access to it? Steam,
but there's been no Kickstarter updates. So,
well, okay then.
I don't think it's out this July. Anyway,
my goodness.
Should we move on to games news?
Gaming news for this week.
Gaming news for the week. Actually, a pretty stacked week, and I think next week's going to be quite quiet because we have Freedom Day in America, July 4th tomorrow.
So expect little news, but until then, we can start with GTA 6 will reportedly only be out in 2025. Will include a Fortnite-like evolving map. Now.
Written by this bozo.
Oh, is this written by Darren? My God, who would have thunk?
Darren. Let's see how many times we can butcher his surname.
Bone Thighs. I think that is the one he liked.
Apparently, who was it? Kind of funny. Greg Miller calls him Darren Bone Thighs. I like Darren Bone Thighs. Is
it Bontes? Like, what is the?
I think it's Bontes.
Spelling?
Yeah, I think it's Bontes.
Amazing.
I look now at it and I can see how people can arrive at Bone Thighs though.
Yeah, it's like Bond
Thighs. Yeah. Anyway,
amazing.
GTA 6, according to some renowned leakers, so to speak, is only scheduled to release 2025. And that it will have apparently an evolving map similar to Fortnite, which, you know, if you think of the kind of structure that GTA Online follows now, that makes sense. Like, to me, a GTA 6 is GTA Online 2. I don't see why they would segment the two anymore. I think you have a GTA 6 which is everything, and it has a single player story that you can play. But I think given the success of GTA Online, like, which is just this ridiculous playground of nonsense, like, that will be GTA 6.
When did GTA 5 launch?
2012 was it, or 2013?
5 launch. Let's see. 2013. Okay.
Just before the new consoles came out. Yeah.
12 years later, you might get the sequel.
I mean, GTA Online. I mean, this game's coming out for new consoles this year. I mean, and the amount of money Rockstar and 2K or Take-Two are making on this game is just like hand of fist. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I can understand why they might not want to move away from this. And to be entirely honest, I would not be surprised if GTA Online just morphs into GTA 6.
Yeah, GTA 6 becomes the single-player story mode, and then GTA Online just exists.
Mm-hmm. Sort of like
Yeah.
how a lot of like they say Fortnite keeps evolving its map, you know, and it goes through seasons, but it's still Fortnite. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it
interesting.
makes sense for this, but yeah, we'll see.
I think it makes sense, yeah, especially in the wake of Red Dead Redemption 2's online really not like lighting the world on fire. So
yeah. Well, can we just take a moment to at least appreciate that GTA 5 came out on the PS3 and that gen of consoles, and even that world was like dense and packed with activities and random things to do. Now, what are they going to do with a two generations later?
make it super pretty.
My God, yeah, I think it's.
I mean,
quite
if
something.
you look, I mean, I don't like Red Dead Redemption 2 that much to my pain because I really love the first one, but visually that game is unbelievable. It's like some of the best looking video games I've ever seen.
Good
so,
Lord. Next up, Sony's been doing some shopping. So they have purchased Returnal developer Housemarque. Now, like me, you might think, but they basically, Housemarque has been in bed with Sony for years now.
Yeah.
But they've not actually been owned by Sony. So
I think the only one of their games in the past like decade that came out on a console other than PlayStation was Nex Machina, which came to PC as well. But aside from that, all of their games have been PlayStation exclusives.
Been like PlayStation babies, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I see their games and I think that, PlayStation exclusive, they must be owned by PlayStation. Not the case, apparently, because now they have been officially purchased by Sony. So
it's a good buy. I think it's
it makes sense as well. Like,
it's really
why
good.
did they not buy them long ago?
And I think Sony's doing really smart business in the wake of, Microsoft scooping up tons of developers and IP. I think Sony's doing smart business with studios it's worked with very closely in the past. I mean, you look at Insomniac, you look at now Housemarque. It's just, they've worked with these studios for decades now, and they're probably purchasing them for a lot less money than you expect because, as someone pointed out to me on Twitter, Insomniac's deal was like 200 and something million. And everyone goes, wow, what a
lot of money.
Yeah, just to be clear. It's a lot of money, but you compare that to the $7 billion Microsoft paid for Bethesda. And you're like, wow. But what the difference there is that Sony just bought a studio. They didn't buy IP because they owned the IP already. They owned Ratchet and Clank. They owned most of the stuff that Insomniac worked on. I think the only IP they gained in that deal was probably Sunset Overdrive. So whereas Microsoft, when they bought Bethesda, bought the IP to Doom, to Elder Scrolls, to all of those. Yeah, that is probably a lot more money. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just think of just those names alone. Like, it's the Doom franchise, it's the Fallout franchise,
it's Dishonored, it's Fallout, it's
Wolfenstein.
There's tons exactly.
There. Yeah,
and that IP is what's expensive. So I think Sony's going, well, we don't have money to do that. So what do? Let's buy the developers that we've worked with already, that we own the IP, and that we are confident can continue, making great exclusives. And I think that's really smart of them.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, Housemarque. I'm just really happy for Housemarque as well because before Returnal, it was looking like Housemarque might close.
Really? Sure.
Yeah, they moved away from arcade games. They tried Storm Divers, which was like trying to cash in on battle royales, and it just flopped. Like, it never came out.
Sure.
And it was looking like if Returnal didn't hit, like, financially, this studio would be in ruins. So it's good that Returnal hit the way it did, and that now they have the financial stability of a Sony to kind of keep making weird things. So that's
cool. And Returnal was a real good game, let me tell you.
Yeah, really.
Rift Apart's not your vibe, and you've got a PS5. Look at Returnal.
Really liked Returnal.
Expect to die a lot, though. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, tons. I mean, it's I can't even. I'm kind of like scared to go back to it because I'm sure all my muscle memory is just gone. Yeah.
But Sony,
speaking of Sony purchases,
not done with Insomniac. They're still out here buying some people.
So they bought Nixes, which, I mean, you might not know them, but Nixes have been responsible for tons of PC ports. They've actually they were kind of like Square Enix's PC port house. They did the ports for Deus Ex Mankind Divided, for Marvel's Avengers, for the Tomb Raider franchise. So I'm sure Square Enix is real pissed by this because like now they have to figure out something else for their PC ports. But this should probably give you a good indicator that Sony is real serious about putting its games on PC and has kind of acknowledged that, hey, the two that it's already put on PC were not the greatest. Horizon Zero Dawn launched in a terrible state on PC, and Days Gone, it ran on Unreal, so maybe it had a better and easier time, but it was also like not the best thing at launch. And especially when you compare it to Microsoft's PC ports, which are pretty immaculate. I think Sony is like, okay, cool. Well, if we're going to go down this road, we want our PC games to exhibit the same sort of quality that it does on our consoles. So why not buy a studio that is pretty much, they've specialized in this for decades. So another good piece of business, I think.
All these big purchases.
There was when Housemarque got purchased. So whenever they've made these purchases, they've put up a collage of characters from PlayStation Studios up on Twitter.
Oh, yes.
And PlayStation Japan, when they announced Housemarque, they put out an image that didn't have Housemarque on it, but instead had Bluepoint Games, which is the Demon Souls remake people, the Shadow of the Colossus remake people. So, firstly, why did that image exist? Why was it just there?
It was like a legit looking image, wasn't it?
And then on top of
Photoshop
it, compare the collages on that image to the rest. That image had the Demon Souls guy on it.
Yeah.
The rest don't. So I think that announcement's imminent. I would be shocked if that doesn't happen at this point.
But even that, it's interesting because, again, Bluepoint, I just associate them with Sony. Of course, they're a Sony studio, but not true. So if they buy them, again, like another...
Bluepoint would be a good purchase, but I'm also like, Bluepoint hasn't made an original game.
No, they're just good at the remakes. They do the remakes real good. They're
exceptionally good at the remakes. So if that's an avenue Sony wants to continue like going down, like to me that's a very limited scope. So if they purchase Bluepoint, I assume the players do another remake, but while you doing this remake, start thinking about an original IP or reviving an IP with a sequel.
Yeah, so I hear you. It does seem limited, except you play on nostalgia like big time with these remakes. So there's been rumors for a long time that Metal Gear Solid is the next one to get a remake. So you see, you think, but Bluepoint don't make original games, but you would play a Metal Gear Solid remake,
100%.
And so would many other people. So yeah, but I'd love to see them do an original game because they make phenomenal remakes. Like they are good at giving that coats of paint and making the game modern.
I think if you're looking for a studio who could take over the reins of existing IP, Bluepoint's a really good choice because like if Naughty Dog is really done with Uncharted, you could get a Bluepoint to make a sequel.
Who made it wasn't Bluepoint, I don't think, but who made the Vita Uncharted? That was
Sony Bend who
they did Days Gone.
Okay. Yeah. But Bluepoint did the Uncharted collection. So
you see. Yeah, well, who knows?
They understand the games that they're remaking at a very fundamental way, and they make the right changes. So if you've got a team that is very good at identifying the parts of a game that people love, that is the perfect studio to continue existing IP when that studio is kind of like done with it.
Yeah.
In my view. So yeah.
Well, moving from PlayStation, let's bounce to Xbox because... Xbox and Kojima reportedly in talks for a publishing deal.
Yeah, I mean, this is been kicking around for a while. It's kind of like been this open secret that Microsoft and Kojima were planning on working on something. So this comes via Jeff Grubb from VentureBeat, and the wording is really weird. It's like there is a letter of intent to work together. So it sounds like a deal hasn't been struck yet, but they are very close to securing a sort of publishing deal. and that Kojima is reportedly working on a cloud-based game, which I don't know what that means. Is that
it's a Strand game?
Yeah, maybe it's a Strand game with loads of cloud elements or, stuff like that. So I don't know.
Here we have my main man Phil with what's this dude called? The
Ludens. Yeah, Ludens. Yeah, I mean, at that point, people are like, oh shit, they're gonna buy Kojima Productions. But Jeff Grubb says that there's no indication that Microsoft is even investing in Kojima Productions. It might just be a publishing deal. What's interesting is that Kojima was reportedly working on a cloud-based game with Stadia, and that at Stadia, one of the lead executives or overseers of cloud games, there was Kim Swift, the former Portal developer or creator. And quite recently, I think only a month ago, Microsoft hired Kim Swift for that exact same role.
Interesting.
She is leading Xbox cloud game partnerships. And now all of a sudden, Kojima's cloud game is no longer coming to Stadia, it's coming to Xbox. So
interesting. So just on the Kim Swift thing, is for my own as a matter of interest. So she did Portal.
Yeah. She was one of the main designers of Portal, yeah.
Okay, but Portal was originally like a student project, was it not, that Valve snapped up? Was she the... Okay, so she's obviously like deep into the whole game development industry now, like working for Microsoft. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so she was part of the team of students that originally came up with the concept, and then Valve hired them. Then she left Valve and helped make a game called Quantum Conundrum, which was kind of like, it was a puzzle game in the vein of Portal, but with different mechanics.
Yeah.
Which was pretty good. And then, if I'm not mistaken, she went to EA Motive when Jade Raymond was part of there, but then left to go to Stadia, also with Jade Raymond. Yeah. And then Jade Raymond left Stadia to form Haven, a new studio, and then Kim Swift got hired by Microsoft to oversee cloud games. Wow. So she's had a career.
That's quite an illustrious. I mean, she's rubbed shoulders with many of the giants. That's quite something.
I think having someone so entrenched in game development running your cloud game partnership program is really clever.
Is a good move, yeah. So apologies for the microwave. It's just the coffee being warmed.
How dare you make coffee?
Just my coffee being warmed.
So yeah, that I'm interested to watch that unfold. Curious.
Next up, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, because I don't know if you are pleased or upset by this Dead Space remake being... No, wait, sorry. Why did I think it was... It is a remake, right, to the first game. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not like a new game in the franchise. They want to remake the first game.
Apparently, this is also from Jeff Grubb at VentureBeat. And, we've been talking about this rumor. I think we spoke about it last week. Rumor of a Dead Space revival being drummed up at EA Motive, and that a game that will be announced on July 22nd with EA Play. But Jeff Grubb says now, from what he's heard, the game is less a revival and more a remake of the first game, which I don't know, man. That game is still pretty fucking good to play today.
Like, what do you...
That game only came out in 2009. It's not that old.
This really reminds me of the news we had earlier this year of the first Last of Us being remade, and it's like,
why? Man. Yeah, exactly
why?
that.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not that old. Like, I get it. It's 2008. It's 13 years old, but in terms of gaming, it's really not that old. Like, if it was at a PS1 or PS2 game getting a proper revival, like, okay, that makes 100% sense to me.
But that's part of the thing that confuses me, because as part of the story, apparently EA is taking inspiration from Capcom's Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. And I'm like, okay, but those are completely different things, because those are remakes because the actual game is completely different.
Yeah, and those were
no longer
PS1
like
games.
Fixed camera. It's,
so I don't know.
Dead Space 1 is still a third person behind, over the shoulder. Okay, it's less of a shooter than its two sequels. It's more of a it feels more like Resident Evil, the first one. The other two go far
Yeah.
more in an action-oriented direction.
Yeah.
So, fuck, if they remake this and make it more action-oriented, I'm going to be real
upset.
sad. Like,
It's if you're remaking it, the only good comparison I can think of is it's not really a remake as much as a reboot is what God of War did. But even that's like God of War was a PS2 and PS3 franchise, which needed something different, but they didn't remake the first game. They went,
yeah,
no,
they rebooted the idea of what a God of War is.
We're going to shock fans and keep the character, but put him in a completely different setting. And, you know, not forget the history, but it's a reboot. And we obviously, this isn't an action / it's now a more methodical third person, you know, combat game. That was really good.
Yeah.
But like Dead Space, I don't know, do they, when they say they're going to reboot or remake the first game, are they going to, I don't know, maybe take some inspiration from Resident Evil and make it first person? But then I feel like that takes away from the charm of Dead Space, where one of the franchise's signature things was Isaac has his health bar and he's back. Like that was
exactly.
a groundbreaking, like, holy shit, what a simple touch, but so clever. So I don't know.
It was like the first of those games to be like, hey, HUDs are shit. Let's put it all in the game, you know. I don't know. I think if you bought Dead Space 1 today and you can play it on Xbox Game Pass, it's still a really good game to play today. Like, it feels modern. So I don't know what a remake does. I was much more interested in this idea when it sounded like it would be a revival where it would be a completely new story in the same universe. And, you know, when you get a new developer to look at an existing IP, that's where things can get exciting because they can, you know, interpret it in their own way. Just remaking the first one seems real creatively bankrupt in my view. Unless, like you said, unless they remake it and they're like, this is kicking off a new trilogy, a sort of like parallel timeline with the same characters, just a different direction. That could be cool. That could be cool. But
yeah, maybe it lays the groundwork for something different. Like, I don't know.
I guess the one thing they could change, because in the first one, each area you went to was completely separate from one another. Like, you did a thing in an area, you got on the tram, you went to the next area, and then you couldn't like travel between the two.
Go back and forth, yeah.
So if they want to remake it, I think the big thing they can change is make it seamless. Like one big open world,
and
which would be very cool.
Make it more like a Metroidvania, and that you have to travel back and forth to get things done. Like,
I think that would be cool. Yeah. But if they keep it the same, if that structure's still in there, then I'm like, you literally just remastered a 2019 game. I mean, 2009 game. So, 2008. Sorry, I wrote this fucking article and I keep saying 2009.
Or just pull a Square Enix and give Dead Space a remake of Final Fantasy VII Levels, where you just blow fans' minds by really, you know, going
shit.
All out.
Aerith is in Dead Space now. Damn,
man, imagine the first the Dead Space remake. It'll be based on the first 3 hours of the game, but we're making it a 20-hour experience. Like, wow, holy shit! How are they going to do like this?
The game ends with you seeing the Necromorph for the first time.
Oh shit!
And getting the plasma cannon, and it's like part 2 coming.
Part 2,
2030.
You thought E3 was over. It is over. But EA Play, EA were like, nah, we're going to do our own thing in July. So that's still coming up.
That's so far away. I don't get it.
I mean, but apparently Dragon Age and Mass Effect will not be present at EA Play.
Oh God, what's fucking new at this point? Like,
so expect.
I feel like every new EA play is like, yeah, don't expect the things you actually want to see at it.
So expect more Pele with FIFA, more Madden, more NHL, maybe some Battlefield. I mean, we've seen Battlefield 2042 now. But
I assume there'll be more of that.
More trailers, more reveals. Yeah.
I'm really bummed by this because, like, I don't know, man. At least a Dragon Age, I thought there'd be something. But the fact that both Dragon Age and Mass Effect are both like so far off, like, I can understand Mass Effect. They like kind of just announced that they were thinking about going back to it. But I don't know. The last Dragon Age came out 2014. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But even Dragon Age, when they revealed it, it was like, wow, we're making new Dragon Age. But that trailer was literally the developers going, we're making a new Dragon Age. It's like, okay, so they're clearly far away from showing, like, we didn't even get a JPEG or anything. So well, I didn't even think we got a mood board. It's like we're making a new Dragon Age.
Can you believe like the last 8 years BioWare, it's just been like misses constantly. Like Inquisition came out in 2013, great game. I know people have issues with that game. I thought Inquisition was rad. I really liked it. And then you get Mass Effect Andromeda, which really missed. I also think it's decent to play, but it's not great. And then you've got the biggest miss of them all in Anthem. It's just like, they really need a hit right now.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they've got some surprises lined up for EA Play. She'll see.
I'm keen. It's going to be apparently a 40-minute event, and hosted by WWE's Austin Creed. So that's cool.
Oh, that's cool because he is a big gamer. He's good friends with
Kind of Funny.
I think Kind of Funny. Like
I think he hosts his own podcast, Up, Down, Down, or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, there's actually a new Star Wars, the Old Republic expansion coming out called Legacy of the Sith. It's kind of impressive how that game is just trucked along. It's interesting.
My God, is that the MMO, right? The 10th anniversary. What?
That's crazy. I mean, I don't play MMOs because they just don't vibe with me. One thing I love about the Old Republic is their cinematic trailers. They are top notch.
I think Star Wars cinematics in general are just like next level. I mean, I know you've often told the story of how you were disappointed with The Force Unleashed 2. But I think, I don't remember which cinematic it was from that game. Maybe like a teaser or the opening cinematic. I remember watching that going, this is lifelike. Like, I can't believe how, if I watch it today, maybe it doesn't look that good. But
that's how I feel about the cinematic for, I think it was actually the very first cinematic for the Old Republic. It was like the Sith attacking the Jedi
Is that the one
temple.
where they're all just farts, basically?
Yes, it's fucking crazy.
It's
and the Sith dude's got a lightsaber that almost looks like it's got a spade on the top. It's an incredible cinematic. It's really something. So yeah.
And then rounding out the news this week,
you know what would be cool in EA Play is an announcement of that the old Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake that's been kicking around for ages.
That is a remake that makes sense, right? Because that game is old now. Imagine that with the modern coats of paint being made by Blue Point, who are now owned by Sony.
I would fucking love. I will play the hell out of that game. I love Knights of the Old Republic.
My goodness. Okay, last bit of news. 2 new Control games in the works. A multiplayer spin-off and a bigger budget title. So this is interesting because so neither of us have played the Control expansion, right? Well, any of the DLC. Like, I need to go back and play the Alan Wake DLC specifically because I'm like, well, these universes tied together. What happens in the story? I'd love to know. But yeah, Control is one of my favorite games. So getting more content, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
it's a good time. I'm keen for that. So
I'm keen for it. I think this is a cool. What I didn't realize is that by multiplayer they meant a 4-player co-op a la like Left 4 Dead type thing.
I mean, that could be cool.
It's cool. Yeah, I think, you know, give players like a bunch of AWEs or Altered World events.
Yeah.
And maybe you're a like squad of 4 from the oldest house or the Federal Bureau of Control investigating these events. Fuck yeah, that sounds awesome.
Can you imagine the destruction of 4 people like flying around, throwing stuff? Like, that sounds awesome.
Exactly. So. I'm down for that. So yeah, that's cool. Apparently this is still quite a while away, so don't expect to see it soon. And on top of it being quite a while away, they are working on a bigger, more what Remedy says, a more Control-like sequel. So I guess that's Control 2.
Is that Control 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, if they're working on Control 2, I suppose we're not getting. Because there have been also some rumors, if I'm not mistaken, about like Alan Wake getting rebooted or a something. But I mean, where do they have the capacity for that then if they're working on 2 Control projects? Like, I don't know. But yeah, I think nothing else this week, right? I think we're good.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So there we go. That's your news for this week. Shall we bounce to
gaming
cool
questions?
If
you want to send us questions, you can email us, checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on all the social media at Checkpoint Chat on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, OnlyFans, not OnlyFans.
Oh my God, when are we doing an OnlyFans?
Hell yeah. I mean, it'll just be hot pictures of me playing Chicory.
You playing Chicory shirtless.
In my underwear, yes.
Oh, that's hot
Making my chin face.
That's what the people want.
That's what they want, man. I mean, who am I to deny the people of hot chins?
My goodness. Okay, we have so many questions this week. So what are we on? We're on an hour and a half. Okay, we fine, but we're going to fly through these. So we have some on Twitter. Let's start there. We have a couple we have one from Michael John who asks
Michael.
No, it's Michael John.
Wait, is this a different person?
Yeah, it's Michael John. Michael.
So it's not Cat.
No.
Oh, whoops. My bad.
Why are Ferrero Rocher chocolates so highly regarded, which increases their price to crazy levels? I mean,
isn't their price high because they're imported?
I think not. Look, I could be wrong. I think I think Ferrero Rochers, we do make them locally as well. I could be wrong.
Okay, I thought it was like a Lindt thing where it's,
Look, I stand to be corrected, but I have a feeling that they have a local something because my sister-in-law actually audited them once, which makes me believe that they must have a local presence.
So she must know why they're so expensive then.
she read the books and the costs are too high. That's why they pass it on to the consumer.
They use only the finest hazelnuts from the mountain of Hazel. Shut up.
Only the finest from Mount Hazel. Look, I think they're expensive because they are decadent chocolates. Like it's not a slab of chocolates.
Swiss chocolatiers.
It's fancy chocolate, which is really nice. Like the hazelnut. Is it hazelnut that they use?
Yeah, I like them a lot.
Let me tell you, if you want to spoil my mom, I don't know why you want to spoil my mom, but she loves Ferrero Rochers. It's like, it's a staple. You can throw it in with any gift you give her. She'll be thrilled because she loves them.
Can I tell you, Ferrero Rochers, in my view, are much better when you put them in the fridge. And that scent is hard.
I've never tried that, but I can believe that. I think that must be nice.
I love
who hates that? Who hates fridge chocolate? It's Lenska.
Oh, really?
Her dad loves putting shit in the fridge and used to drive Lenska crazy where she used to tell me she'd often like get a chocolate and be like, "Where's my chocolate?" And her dad's like, "I put it in the fridge for you." She'd be like, "Why? I don't want it cold or hard. I want it."
Does Lenska also hate cold, like Coca-Cola?
No.
Okay, so my mom is like that. Like if we buy Coke, we usually have to buy 2 because one is to be kept in the cupboard at room temperature and one in the fridge.
Okay, see now your mom's crazy. No offense.
Yeah,
because
I think so too. I think that's
so
ridiculous.
the difference is Lenska, like she will drink a room temperature Coke if there's nothing else. She'll be like, oh damn, like this wasn't in the fridge, I'll drink it. I can't. I'm like, no,
I can't. I can't either.
It's not the same. It's like warm.
I mean, I get the reasoning. My mom says it makes it less fizzy when it's cold, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. But it's also far less refreshing when it's fucking warm.
Yeah, geez, like.
Nah, I don't get it.
Why Ferrero Rocher chocolates are so expensive? I
thought they were imported. That was my answer. So knowing that they made here, I'm not sure. But I think you're right. It's just a decadent thing.
It's just a decadent. It's like they're individually wrapped. They've got hazelnuts and it's
layers. Branding.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not a slab of chocolate. It's probably a far more complex like production line to make them. But they're also delicious. So
they're tasty.
But I will take a Lindt slab over Ferrero Rocher any day of the week.
Which lint slab though?
Double cream, baby.
My God, yeah, lint has quite a range of chocolates,
I love
and
lint.
they rather
even
rather
those little
delicious.
lint balls that you get. Fuck.
Oh my
so
God,
good.
the red ones. Oh,
Yeah. There's a new
heaven.
one. There's a green one, which is pistachio. It's so good, dude. It's so good. So
my
good.
Goodness. Next question from Megs. He says, are you guys keen for Windows 11? Direct storage, auto HDR, and native Android app support highly interest me. So Windows 11's out now, right?
No.
Has it been? Is it not? Oh, is it end of the year? Why did? Oh, are people just seeing if they are Windows 11 ready?
Compatible, yeah. There's there's preview builds out now if you really want to fuck with your PC like that. I mean, do it. I just don't recommend doing it on a daily driver PC.
No.
But yeah,
So,
it's out to the end of the year.
I'm interested. I mean,
it's
you
Windows.
would say no. Yeah, you would say no to a new OS. My only concern is, and I'm like this even with my phone, I'm often hesitant to upgrade to, like, say, a new iOS when it launches, because there are sometimes bugs that need to be ironed out. So I like to wait a month or two if I can help it. With Windows 11,
what I found amazing is that this Windows 11 tool, which tells you whether or not your PC is ready for it. I mean, despite the fact that they're not allowing any CPUs from like Intel Core i, the 7th gen and lower, which seems really restrictive to me. Like, it also requires some setting in your BIOS to be turned on, which is usually off by default. And like the majority of users are not going to know that. So
no. Microsoft just makes things hard for Windows themselves. 11, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what the tool is telling them. And it's just like weird. But anyway, I think Megs hits on the 3 interesting aspects of Windows 11, like auto HDR. Okay, auto HDR for games is cool, but it requires you to have a good HDR monitor, and those are fucking hard to come by. Let me tell you that much.
Especially at PC-sized monitors, I'm assuming.
Yeah, when it comes to TVs, HDR is like pretty fucking sorted out. Like, you can still get TVs with bad HDR, but in general, when you're buying a decent TV, it's got decent to good HDR. Monitors, man. Monitors can come with HDR like 600 VESA specification and still a shit. Even the highest tier HDR monitors are like nowhere near TVs. They don't have as many dimming zones. They don't reproduce the color correctly. Like, and you're paying thousands for them. So it's cool that feature's coming at an OS level, but the monitors are still so far behind.
Why is that with monitors? Or like, why?
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense to be like, you've got massive screens that are sorted, but then these smaller compact screens that battle.
I don't know.
Like,
I mean, there are legitimately people who are using the smallest LG OLED TV as a PC monitor because that is the best PC monitor you can get. Yeah. Sure. But then you run into all sorts of other issues. Like I was this close to doing that. But OLEDs are not great for like me using it for 9 hours a day for coding, because I'm just going to burn in those LEDs, like those OLEDs so quickly. So yeah. Anyway, direct storage seems cool. If you don't know what that means the graphics card can communicate directly to your hard drive and not go through the CPU. So that's more in line with how the Xbox does it. So that's where I think Gen 4 SSDs are going to come more into play eventually. So that's cool. And what was the other one? Oh, native Android apps on Windows. That's pretty cool. I think that's rad. So you can run any Android app on Windows. I think that's really cool.
Bam.
I mean, Apple does it with iOS apps, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think Megs' next question actually overlaps with one we have on email from Alesh. So let me just pull that up quickly. Damn it, you think I'd have it open by now. So Meg says, will you guys talk about the implosion of talent leaving the South African game journalism sector from many local websites? So he asked that. And then Malesh said, seeing a few departures of industry mainstays like Darren, Taron, and Garth, and Lazy Gamer / Critical Hit has been sold. Lots of chatter from you guys about it too. Did something specific happen, or is it really just because they all started at the same time and it's just a changing of the guard? I guess so. For those of you who don't know, there was I think June was like a weird season of exodus from the local gaming industry. So as they've said, Taron has left NAG. Garth announced this week that he is leaving SA Gamer, or he has left SA Gamer. And Darren has left Critical Hit, and Critical Hit has been purchased by, I don't know who.
Pretty much everyone has left Critical Hit.
Yeah, not just Darren, just to be clear. I think a lot of people have moved on now. I think there's still one or two writers kicking around, but I don't know for how long. I don't know. Like, I can't tell you from our side that I don't think they all had a meeting and said, June's the month we leave.
No, just definitely not. No. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak to their motivations outside of what has been said on social media and their respective posts. But I know Taron on social media was pretty candid that she had not been paid in months. And Garth, in his farewell post on SA Gamer, alluded to the same thing.
Like money's just tight.
Yeah, and I can speak from personal experience that money in games writing was never good. And I always found it kind of incredible that there were those that managed to do it full time. Given, the money that was kicking around in the industry, and, the kind of like flags, the red flags have been coming for a while now. This move to digital has really, it's taken a huge toll on distribution companies locally. You look at big companies like Megarom folded essentially, and now you've got far fewer distributors, bringing games into the country, and that's going to shrink stores as digital becomes bigger and bigger. The problem I always found with local games media, and this is no slight on them, because I think the organizers of this were doing as much as they could to try and change this, but it relied on advertising budgets from game distributors. And it was just a real house of cards. So as soon as that started collapsing, every website took straight.
Everything, yeah.
And then the smaller pool, you had more websites trying to get more from that smaller pool. So it was like self-cannibalization of the industry. And I know for a fact, at least a Critical Hit years ago, there were lots of concerted efforts to try and find money outside of gaming, because honestly, that's where more money came from, and it was more stable. And it just didn't happen.
Just on that quickly, like, I think there's a reason Critical Hit Lazy Gamer was rebranded Critical Hit. It was to, build a website that wasn't just built around gaming. It was now gaming and entertainment and technology. It was sort of, I suppose, to cast a wider net in the hope of maybe reaching more readers, and obviously in turn getting more advertisers to, sit up and maybe put money into the site. So
yeah. It was quite literally why it did that. And I mean, I think there is also an aspect of a lot of the people that left have, they've been in the industry for a long time. Some more than a decade. So at a point you have all these, factors beating down on you, and you're just like, I'm kind of done with this. So yeah, I mean, Critical Hit got sold, and that was a long time coming. And it allowed for folks like Darren to pursue things that they've been wanting to pursue for a long time individually. I mean, Darren's still doing the freelancing with GameSpot, and he's doing YouTube stuff now on his channel, which you should follow. I don't know what Garth and Taron have planned, but I assume, whether they're staying games or not, they'll do just fine, because they're both hardworking people. So
yeah,
it is sad though.
I think it's quite a.
I think by the end of the year,
dark day for quite a dark month for local gaming journalism.
It's just something to keep in mind when you're reading. If you're reading any local gaming journalism, like, understand that 9 times out of 10, if people are getting paid, they're getting paid almost nothing. if they're getting paid.
If they're getting paid,
and
yeah.
it's more likely that it's not their primary job. So, you know, as you see websites closing down, that is literally them not able to even sustain that, which is really dire. So support the ones that you like now, because I don't think they're going to be around for much longer, to be entirely honest, which is really sad. I mean, we do this podcast because we can, because it is a side gig and we just enjoy doing it. If this was a primary source of income or needed to be, this podcast would not exist.
There would be many gray hairs coming through here. But yeah.
Really sad.
It is very sad. And just to echo what you said, Garth and Taryn and Darren all three of them, highly talented, very hardworking. Like, I know they'll wherever they do move on to, whether it's writing or just something related to gaming, whatever it is, like, I think they'll do very, very well. So we wish them all the best, because it's not easy. I can't imagine it's easy to just give up something like this, you know, and be like, okay, bye, like I'm piecing out.
I've often thought about it, like, because there has been moments in my life where I'm like, you know, I'm really burning at both ends of the candle here, and it's like, do I just give up this game writing thing? Because I can't sustain this. And it's every time that thoughts come across, it's just like I end up not doing it because it brings me so much joy.
Yeah, so, it's a difficult thing to have. I mean, I'm fortunate in that when I left Lazy Game, it was purely because, hey, I got a full-time job and I actually just need to earn. Like, again, me leaving was 100% a financial thing of like, cool, I need to actually like start my life now on earning money. I wasn't earning big bucks at Lazy Game, and not because they couldn't, not because I was being underpaid for any reason other than I don't think they could afford to really pay more. So I was out of the game and I came back purely for this podcast because I missed it so much. It's just a avenue for me to get that fix of, hey, I'm playing this game, I want to talk about it. So
yeah, and we I mean, we do some advertising campaigns here and there, but as anyone who's, you know, a fan of the show for a long time will know, it's not that frequent. And that's part of, you know, it's twofold. It's Matty and I both have full-time jobs, so chasing up advertising and creating campaigns takes time.
It's that's
time
after
that we don't
our
have.
stuff. Yeah.
And when we do have time to push that stuff out, you know, then you have to find the right partners that are willing to pay for that, because distributors' budgets are smaller and smaller, and many of them want a lot more for a lot less. So we've been thankfully worked with some great ones. I know, you know, Nintendo and Core have been really good to work with. So I mean, like I said, this would never sustain us full time. So I'm glad we get to do it on the side, because it is fun.
Yeah. Cool. Moving on to another question from Malay. She says, okay, so why are you, open bracket Sandy, so hyped about them? He's asking about mechanical keyboards. I'm all for a good bit of kit. Always figured keyboard to be a one and done sort of thing. Personally, I haven't tried one properly, preferring the split layouts of a Microsoft natural keyboard. Mechanical equivalent of that is stupidly expensive. My question is more about the fact that buying a mechanical keyboard feels more like a hobby in itself, the way some of you talk about it. I don't get it. Care to provide any insights? So let me tell you that mechanical keyboards for me, not a hobby. I just have a mechanical keyboard. This one, fortunately, given to me by Logitech locally. And I just like the feel of the mechanical keyboard. It just feels really nice to type on, to game on, and it looks pretty. So
it's really hard to go back to non-mechanical.
Yeah, that's the difference, right? Like when we got this drop from Logitech, I gave my old keyboard to Lenska, and she also never understood the hype of mechanical until she used one. She's like, "Oh, this feels good."
Yeah, it's impossible to go back to like a membrane keyboard after mechanical. Like it straight up just is a better typing
laptop
experience.
Keyboard's not the worst thing. Like I can get
they're good. Chiclet keyboards are pretty good. And look, 90% of the people who buy even mechanical keyboards are going to buy pre-built ones, like the Logitech one you have there.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything fancy. Just
and you're talking then of a very small like market of like, do you want blue clicky keys or brown tactile ones or red linear ones, and that's like
Yeah.
the most people know about mechanical keyboards. What I've gotten into recently is more custom build ones, which is a growing market, and I see more and more people talking about it. And I just think it's like a fun hobby because I like keyboards and I like electronics and tech. So it's a good melding of the two in a way. So yeah, I'm literally probably going to build my first one next weekend because all the parts have arrived. And a brand new one is busy on the way. It's being shipped to me now. Why I bought 2 kits? Don't know. Can only use one keyboard at a time, but that is just what went through my brain at the time.
You're that dude from any movie that's hacking. You're typing across 3
I have
different
like 3 keyboards. Yeah, I you know, I've heard from a lot of people who've done it that building your own keyboard becomes a very personal thing. Like when you use it, it is unique to you, and that's part of it. Like I can choose my switches. I can choose the plate, like what it's made of. Is it brass? Is it aluminum? Is it polycarbonate? Like I can choose my keycaps. You can really make a keyboard of your dreams. And like you said, the split format is very expensive in a mechanical sense because it's very uncommon. So, but yeah, I mean, you use what is comfortable to you. This is definitely a hobby. I'm not building it because I'm like, this will be a superior typing experience. I don't fucking know if it will be. Like,
my APM will go up by 73%.
No,
I'm going to be the StarCraft 2 champion.
I will still type like an absolute idiot and make typos everywhere. But yeah, it's just going to be a fun experience, I think.
Yeah.
I'm keen to show it off when it's done, the first one.
Yeah. Oh, please do a video. Thank you. Thank you in advance. Do it on TikTok. 60-second build it video.
Good Lord.
We have a question from someone we've never had ask before, which is very exciting. Jared, @JaredBrah on Twitter. Who asks, with Battlefield 4 experiencing a resurgence, which games would you like to see experience the same? So I gave this some quick thought in the last 3 seconds, and the first game that came to mind was Left 4 Dead, which I spent a lot of time playing in its heyday. I imagine there's still people playing it today, but I don't think locally there are a lot of people playing. So back then, getting a versus game together was like so simple. You know, it's good quick time to round up 8 people and just have some stupid good fun bouncing between survivors and infected. But I guess I'm fortunate in that Back 4 Blood is coming out. It's around the corner. I think it's in October. And that to me is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, is the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead 2. So I will get my fix, hopefully, in a modern form at least. So
there seems to be a real resurgence of like
these
PvE
older things,
games, like 4 versus everything games. I mean, we were just talking about Control making one of those. I think there's another one in the Vampire Masquerade universe that is like in beta and it's running on that same idea as well. So interesting that format seems to be coming back in a big way.
Yeah.
You got like Warhammer Vermintide, which is keeping that format going strong now.
That's a game I have not played, but I should.
You will love it.
It's good.
I reckon you will love it. It's pretty good. I quite like it. So I mean, if actual Left 4 Dead 2 like started getting real popular on Steam again, that'd be fucking cool. I think that'd be great. I swear I saw that Team Fortress 2 reached its all-time like
that's got a resurgence now as well,
which is crazy.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there was a patch or an update or something that minimized hackers or something, which weirdly led to a resurgence. I could be wrong. Don't put that on a t-shirt and quote me. But in my Twitter scrolling, I'm pretty sure that's what I read or I saw this week. But like Team Fortress 2, that game's how old? It's like
it's
ancient now,
I loved playing that game. I think I played most of it near when it launched in like 2007 or 8. Was around about then. Game's great. So
fun
I would
fact,
actually be keen to jump back into it.
Fun fact, that's how I met Cello. I was in Team Fortress 2 via a friend.
2 now.
They're like, I'm so keen to uninstall it now.
Yeah, exactly. Good Lord. I wonder if Team Fortress 2 didn't exist, if Overwatch would exist.
I somehow doubt it, because I think Overwatch 2 and a lot of games took plenty inspiration from Team Fortress, just in the whole class-based thing. Even Call of Duties and that, they often have loadouts now, which I think, I mean, was Team Fortress the first game that did that? I think so.
I think so, yeah.
I don't know.
But I just know like Overwatch is like you are defending or pushing a cart, which is like
it's Team Fortress.
Fucking Team Fortress, hey.
Well, speaking of Chiller, we have some quick questions from him on Instagram. He asks, number one, how would you spend $1 million in 24 hours?
Phew.
See, now this is where
I put down a deposit for a house.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I feel like invested in property because then I get to technically keep it. You know,
that's such a boring answer, though. Buy a Ferrari.
No, but I'm thinking longevity here. Yeah, like how do you spend it in 24 hours? Yeah, okay. Look, you buy a couple of properties because $1 million is a lot of money. Okay, you could buy like 2 or 3 really nice properties all over South Africa, depending where you shop, whatever. But if you have like
half a property in Houghton.
Or half a property. If you have a couple million to spare, like, yeah, why not? I would probably, let me tell you, I like Ferraris to look at and everything. And there's some, Aston Martin's beautiful to look at. But my favorite car and one I'd love to own one day is an Audi R8. Like, I just love,
really nice.
I just love the look of that car. So really buy one of those, invest in some property. There we go. I'll buy Lupin a house because I can. Lupin and Luna.
I don't know if you want to get weird with it. You could buy Princesa probably for that amount of money.
Yeah, you buy your favorite franchise.
Yeah,
snap up Princesa and Franco's.
You could open up a KFC near you, so you have your own personal KFC. Should be pretty cool.
Just for me, I pay the staff for 24 hours. Let's say cool, thanks.
Just for you. I would build the most fucking balling PC, which would probably cost me $1 million because GPs are so expensive anyway.
Oh my god, yeah. Maybe
I'd
maybe
put like four 3090s in one PC. Why? Because fuck you. That's why.
Let me tell you. Maybe half of that you just put into Bitcoin and you just let it sit for like, or Dogecoin, and you let Elon tweet and then you sell it. You've like tripled your profits. Easy.
or lose everything very quickly.
I mean, it's a gamble, but. Okay, next question. Why does Sandy struggle in competitive or online games, especially Trackmania?
Fuck. This is why I hate Cello. Because he just lies to me through questions.
My goodness. Why do you
I'm not bad at Trackmania. I'm just better than him, and he takes that personally.
Wow. He does.
He does. I mean, he struggles to drive in a straight line, so
what a guy.
It's hard when you're that bad at a game to comprehend that other people can be better than you.
This rivalry, I feel like I wish that I could give Cello a Switch in Mario Golf just to watch you guys battle it out on the fairway. Oh, wow.
You can't even drive straight. Now you must hit a ball straight, please.
Imagine.
I can't believe we put up with him not shooting straight in CSGO as well.
I know. Times are tough, but you have to stick with your friends, right? I mean, I suppose this leads into his next, not a question, it's a comment. He says, don't forget that you always win when you play with your friends. That's the Dota 2 mantra, because I think it was John Michael once said that I wasn't part of this game. They're having an awful time. And he said, well, at least we're playing with each other and we're having a good time. You always win when you play with friends.
I'm sure Cello took that comment super well while losing at Dota.
It's like, I hate this. I gave Sandy time to get used to the F1 season so he can try his luck again at predictions. He hasn't asked for a while, so yeah.
I mean, it's been a wild season. It's seriously been super fun to watch because it's been a bit unpredictable. Yeah. So last week it was Verstappen, Hamilton, and who came third? Bottas. Yeah. Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez this weekend.
What's the next track that they're racing?
It's the same track as last week. It's Austria.
What?
Yeah, because they have to cancel some races. They do 2 races at some courses, some tracks. I mean.
Okay. So, but last week's race like still counted and everything, but they redoing it for. Okay, I got
They
to
just
know
have a
that.
different Grand Prix.
Because in my head, I was like, holy shit, how do they move to another country in a week?
Well, they have the week before they were in France. So
My goodness.
they keeping a wild
Hectic.
schedule. Very, very hectic schedule.
Okay, then last question from Cello. He asks, what series or movie would you recommend? I mean,
recently.
I suppose recently.
Mayor of Easttown, if you haven't watched that. Really good.
What is that on? I know Noel and Tracy have loved it.
So I watched it via DSTV Catch-Up or Showmax. It's on there because it's an HBO series, so you can grab it on there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really good. It's only one season. It's like a mini series. I think it's only 8 episodes.
But what is it about?
It's a murder like thriller with Kate Winslet. It's really fucking good.
Interesting.
I really, and there's some real twists and turns. It's really good. Really enjoyed
Good Lord.
If you ever watched True Detective, similar vibes.
Trying to think, I haven't really watched a show for a long time. I mean, I'm very selective with. I don't watch series nearly as much as you do. I think you get through way more than I do. It's like I only really watch the inverted commas, the big things. Like I'll watch, The Mandalorian. I'll watch the Marvel shows. I will watch The Witcher. Things that I'm pretty sure I'll like. So,
have you been watching Loki since you said Marvel?
No, so I still need to catch up on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I haven't watched that.
Oh, that's really good.
So the last show I actually watched was actually WandaVision, and that was like months ago now. So the one show I am very excited for, though, I presume it's December, is The Witcher season 2.
I hope it's in December. Yeah, they have that WitcherCon thing happening on July 9th, so I'm sure we'll get a release date.
Pretty sure it's December. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that means it would have been 2 years since the first season. That's crazy.
Pre-COVID.
You finished Castlevania, didn't you? Or not yet?
Actually, I lied. That's the last thing I watched is Castlevania. You're right. That was also a good time.
That is very good.
And I'm very excited for the next season, which will be a
Richter Belmont.
The next generation of Belmont, which is cool.
I've been watching Giant Bomb as a series called Vinny Vania, where Vinny Caravella plays through most of the core Castlevania games.
Ooh, nice.
And just learning, like, brushing up on the lore of that series. Like the first 2 games, you play as Simon Belmont, and then only in the third one you play as Trevor, and it's a prequel. So I thought Trevor was unique to the series. I didn't realize the series actually basically adapted Castlevania 3. But there's like interesting things, like Carmilla is a boss in the games, but she's not a vampire. So they completely and there's like no Council of Vampires in Castlevania
I think
3.
this series they had to like really stretch it out to build a world, because I think those games, remember, they came out like 90s.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's this cool 2D Metroidvania style. Well, I suppose Symphony of the Night was the first proper one, but it's like you're a vampire hunter, and that's the extent of the lore. It's
kind of cool because in the third game you play as Cypher, and you go through most of the game thinking Cypher is a man. Right. And only at the end she reveals herself as a woman because she hid herself because of the witch Inquisition.
Oh, interesting.
And at the begin, and in Castlevania 3, you find her encased in stone, and you free her by killing a Cyclops. I'm like, oh, that was in the show. Like they took liberties, but they kept some like broad strokes which are really good.
Yeah.
So I'm keen because now the next spin-off is going to be Richter Belmont, and
that's the lineage that I know.
Yeah, he's from Rondo of Blood, which leads directly into Symphony of the Night. So also Alucard is in Castlevania 3, so it makes sense that he appears everywhere. So
but I'm keen for, I don't know where in the timeline Symphony of the Night is, but where Alucard is the main dude, I'm very keen to see.
Apparently it takes place during the French Revolution, so that's like 300 years after Trevor and Cypher.
So we'll see. When we get the show gets there, I'm down, because then it's 100% Alucard and him on his hunt for his father. So
I'm keen to see how Dracula fits into all this, considering the events of Castlevania season 4. So I thought it was a great end to the series. I really enjoyed that season.
It's a good time. That's a great show if you haven't watched it. I think there's 4 seasons. You can fly through them very quickly.
Yeah, I rewatched season 1 to 3 before I started 4 because I was like, I just want to see the full picture here, and it's like really quick. It's super good. Super good.
So yeah, there you have it. That's all. I'm pretty sure we got all the questions. I don't think I missed any. But yeah, thank you for all the questions. That was
thank you. That was a nice varied batch of questions. If you want to be part of that illustrious group, you can send us questions too.
Subscribe on OnlyFans.
checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on all the social medias at Checkpoint Chat. Just not OnlyFans yet, you know. Instagram, Twitter,
TBC,
Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. Send us questions. Send us a question in a TikTok. That'd be cool.
I need to log into our TikTok. I haven't for a while.
Imagine we have like 10,000 questions there. That'd be funny. But yeah, this has been episode 150 of Checkpoint Chat. What a milestone.
It's a 2-hour extravaganza.
Yeah. Could only be possible thanks to all of you listening. We appreciate you. We do this because we love to talk about games with each other, and we don't get to as much as we'd like to anymore. But at the end of the day, knowing people listen to it and enjoy it, that's cool. I love that.
That's
Sure. So yeah, thank you so much. There is no cake. There are maybe air horns. We don't know.
I'll have to include those in.
On the video version, you'll have to. But we'll be back next week as usual. So thanks for listening.
Cool.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys. Goodbye.